Hello, everyone. Welcome again to another episode on point categories presented by Liangqiu Wellness Foundation, Inc., featuring Xi-cleft points. This time we talk about the Yang Xi points. Before we start, let us first review Xi-cleft points, the characteristics. First, they are located on the limbs and are where the qi and blood accumulate and converge in the meridians. Each of the 12 regular meridians has a Xi-cleft point, as do the Yinwei, Yangwei, Yinqiu, and Yangqiu meridians, 16 in all. They treat acute disorders. The Yin points alleviate acute bleeding disorders, and the Yang points relieve acute pain. So this time we shall be focusing on the Yang points, the Yang Xi-cleft points. They can also help diagnose when palpating these points. If they are tender, the meridian is affected. For example, if stomach 34 is very tender to the touch, there are stomach issues. Large intestine 7. Location. With the elbow flexed, the point is on the dorsal radial side of the forearm, on the line connecting Li5 and Li11, 5 Tsun above the wrist crease. Li7 is the Xi-cleft point of the large intestine meridian, needling perpendicular insertion 0.5 to 1 Tsun. Li7, like most Xi-cleft points or accumulation points, stops pain and removes obstructions from the channel and is particularly useful in acute situations. It is widely used in painful obstruction syndrome of the channel and also heat conditions of the mouth and face. Li7 opens the mind's orifices in mental emotional conditions occurring against a background of heat in bright yang. As mentioned before, whenever ancient books mention seeing ghosts or talking to ghosts, it usually means that the point is indicated in serious mental conditions such as psychosis. Functions of large intestine 7. As accumulation point, it is used for painful and acute conditions of the channel. Clears heat in the face, so it's very good for swollen tonsils, facial furuncles. Li7 opens the mind's orifices. As the various names for this point indicate, Li7 is a very useful point to bring warmth and movement to the large intestine official. Some people with an imbalance in metal, whether primarily in the lung or the large intestine, find it difficult to maintain their own heat without an outside source. When this coldness affects the mind and spirit, the person may feel despondent and isolated. They have no internal place of comfort and can be unable to be expansive and connect to other people. Excellent with moxa. Up to 30 cones may be used. All Xi-cleft points are useful for invigorating or dispersing pain or obstruction along the particular channel on which they are found and are much used in acute conditions. Li7, which is also known as warm current, can clear fire from the large intestine and stomach, the Yang Ming, and so assists with the problems that affect a fire-afflicted Yang Ming. For example, hysteria, madness, seeing ghosts, boils, and fevers. Sanjiao 7 or triple burner 7. Location. On the dorsal aspect of the forearm, on the line connecting Sanjiao 4 and the tip of the elbow. 3 Tsun above the transverse crease of the wrist between the ulna and radius. Triple burner 7 is known as the Xi-cleft point of the Sanjiao meridian. Needling perpendicular insertion 0.5 to 1 tsum. Like all Xi-cleft points, triple burner 7 can be used in acute excess patterns to stop pain. Its areas of action are the ears, temples, and eyebrows. It is also effective for muscle ache in the arms in post-viral fatigue syndrome. Functions of Sanjiao 7 removes obstructions from the channel, so it's particularly useful for pain in the arm and shoulder, pain in the elbow, pain and contraction of the fingers. Sanjiao 7 benefits the ears, so it's particularly useful in tinnitus, deafness, earache. Situated in a divergence from the straight path of the meridian, Sanjiao 7 allows for time out, a convergence before the straight onward path of the meridian resumes. When the triple burner or Sanjiao is disturbed, life feels jungly and discordant, as if nothing will come into orderly focus, and all the officials may soon express their discomfort and distress. The Sanjiao's role of regulation is so important to our sense of well-being that if it is lost, many different symptoms can arise in the body, mind, and spirit. The natural healthy sense of a deep joy in life may well be disturbed, or the emotional weather may alternate widely if the triple burner feels out of control and rushed, or conversely overpowered by sadness. Then it is appropriate to take time to call on the deep wisdom associated with the ancestors or collective unconscious. This point is considered an assembly of ancestors and can gather sufficient resources to restore composure and perspective. It is a plentiful point. It is an assembly of many ancestors, not just one. This point can restore the steadiness of mind needed when Sanjiao starts to lose control within the body, mind, and spirit. Xi-cleft accumulation points are points where the qi gathers and they help the mind regain clarity and perspective. Small intestine 6. Location on the dorsal ulnar aspect of the forearm, in the depression on the radial side of the styloid process of the ulna. SI6 is the Xi-cleft point of the small intestine meridian, needling oblique insertion towards the elbow, 0.5 to 0.8 tsum. As an accumulation or Xi-cleft point, SI6 is used for any channel problems of the small intestine, particularly acute cases with tightness of the sinews causing stiff neck and shoulders. Its effect on the feet is due to its relationship with the bladder channel within the greater yang. Functions of small intestine 6. Brightens the eyes, so very good for blurred vision, eye pain. Benefits the sinews and removes obstructions from the channel, like severe shoulder pain, severe pain of the upper arm, redness and swelling of the elbow, contracture of sinews, painful obstruction syndrome, the P syndrome of the feet. The name of SI6 is nourishing the old. This indicates the gently sustaining nature of this point. It is believed to strengthen the constitution and be helpful with chronic conditions. It activates the purifying aspect of fire and so cleanses the spirit, particularly when a jaded, depleted, and possibly contaminated small intestine fails to separate pure from impure and so deprives the person of unalloyed joy. This contamination of spirit can lead to complete despair. The power of fire is maturity. Use small intestine 6 when there is a failure to mature, which has left the person feeling inadequate and lacking the heart to live their life. Blood and qi gather at Xi-cleft accumulation points, making them good points to use when nourishing and tonifying are key issues. All Xi-cleft points are useful for invigorating or dispersing pain or obstruction along the particular channel on which they are found, and are much used in acute conditions. As the Xi-cleft accumulation point, small intestine 6 eases pain and stiffness along the meridian, especially from tendons and joints which restrict movement, elbow, shoulder, neck, lower back pain, and hemiplegia. Small intestine 6 is used to prevent or cure many disorders associated with old age: stiff, painful wrists, lower back pain, shoulder pain, poor eyesight, deafness, toxicity of the system, confusion, muddle, digestive problems. Yang, in this context, is understood as to support, nourish, raise. Lao is old. Stomach 34. Location: when the knee is flexed on the anterior aspect of the thigh, on the line connecting the anterior superior iliac spine and the lower lateral border of the patella, 2 tsun above the patella. Stomach 34 is the Xi-cleft point of the stomach meridian. Needling perpendicular insertion, 0.5 to 1 tsun. As a Xi-cleft accumulation point, stomach 34 is used for acute, excess, and painful patterns of the stomach. It subdues rebellious stomach qi, causing such symptoms as hiccup, nausea, vomiting, and belching. It is frequently used in the treatment of painful obstruction syndrome of the knee to expel exterior dampness, wind, and cold from the knee joint. Functions of stomach 34: used for acute, excess, and painful patterns of the stomach. Subdues rebellious stomach qi, like hiccup, nausea, vomiting, and belching. Used in the treatment of painful obstruction syndrome of the knee to expel exterior dampness, wind, and cold from the knee joint. As the Xi-cleft accumulation point, where blood and qi tend to gather, located on the stomach Yangming meridian, which is said to be rich in blood and qi, stomach 34 is an invigorating and restorative point. Xi-cleft points are good for the mental level, being a mix of yin blood and yang qi, encouraging both the calm and nourishment that intent and reciprocity are built upon, as well as the vitality needing to string rational thought together. The stomach official is involved in the production of post-heavenly essence, which also supports the good relationship of the heart and the brain, necessary for clear thinking. Accumulation points have been likened to periscopes, as although they are not command points, they allow one to surface and check out new horizons while in the safe seas near the command points. Xi-cleft points are also good for invigorating the particular meridian upon which they lie, so they are good for removing obstructions from the channel. Xi-cleft points are useful for acute and excess patterns where channel qi gathers. Stomach 34 expels dampness, wind, and cold, particularly from the knee joint or lower part of the thigh, and moves stagnant qi and blood. Gallbladder 36. Location: on the lateral aspect of the lower leg, 7th zone above the tip of the external malleolus, on the anterior border of the fibula at the level of gallbladder 35. GB36 is the Xi-cleft point of the gallbladder meridian. Needling perpendicular insertion 1 to 1.5 zone. Being the Xi-cleft point, gallbladder 36 is used in all painful conditions of the channel or organ. Function: removes obstruction from the channel, so it's good for hypochondrial distension, painful obstruction syndrome, the P syndrome, and atrophy, Wei syndrome of the lower leg. The invigorating nature of Xi-cleft accumulation points affect the mind positively, clearing and stimulating thought, bringing clarity and a fresh perspective. Qi and blood gather at Xi-cleft points. They are particularly energizing for the meridian on which they are found. Xi-cleft points are used in acute conditions to move obstructed qi along the meridian. The potential of this Xi-cleft point on the gallbladder meridian can give strength and fluidity to those who feel insubstantial and timid, or inflexible and rule-bound. As with many points on the calf, the name of this point is a reference to its location on a hill of flesh, the calf. As the Xi-cleft accumulation point, GB36 can be used in cases of obstruction or pain of the meridian or fu, and as a distal point to influence the other end of the meridian, neck pain and stiffness, chest and hypochondriac fullness and pains. Urinary bladder 63. Location: on the lateral aspect of the foot, directly below the anterior border of the external malleolus, lateral to the lower border of the cuboid bone. Bladder 63 is the Xi-cleft point of the urinary bladder meridian. Needling, perpendicular insertion, 0.3 to 0.5 zone. Like all Xi-cleft accumulation points, bladder 63 is used in acute cases to stop pain. Judging from the indications, this effect of this Xi-cleft point is limited to channel problems, and surprisingly, this point does not have any urinary indications. However, it can be used in acute bladder patterns to clear heat and stop pain for such symptoms as frequent and burning urination. Functions: removes obstructions from the channels. It's very good for lower back ache, knee pain, painful obstruction syndrome, the B syndrome of the legs, pain in the legs, pain on the external malleolus. Bladder 63 relieves urinary pain in acute urinary problems. As a Xi-cleft point where qi and blood gathers, this gate can be used to tonify and invigorate when the bladder qi has become torpid and dull or erratic and overflowing. When the water element is out of balance, its associated emotion of fear is betrayed in the body by either inappropriate stillness or excessive movement. Bladder 63 can help regulate and balance the bladder and ease these extremes. As a gate, it encourages qi to move through from one place to another in an orderly way and lubricates this transition. Bladder 63 is not only an accumulation point on the bladder, but a crossing point with the Yang Mai, and this accounts for its ability to help regulate, contain, or reinforce the movement of qi in the bladder meridian. The yang wei mai and yin wei mai act closely together to keep yin and yang connected and regulated between heaven and earth. This is a golden gate, which implies the quality and richness that can be experienced with the action of this point. Golden gate or metal gate is not directly linked with the metal element, but golden indicates that potentially the transition of this gate can reconnect one with fresh inspiration and purpose, as well as reminding one of the control and direction given by metal in the controlling of the water passages. Bladder 63 can be a powerful point for the mind and spirit. If water has lost its purity and quality, then it loses its ability to refresh the mind and spirit. If there is anxiety from fear of not having enough in reserve, then this gate gives access to what is here, an accumulation and abundance of qi. Thank you very much for your attention.